Okay, here it is, the 16th still, and this is where we wound up. I put a timer on this time, and it took us, well, the boys, took them half hour to skin it. So they did pretty good. And let's turn this around so we can give you a good view of this. You'll notice the color of that fat. Isn't that something? It's almost fluorescent looking. But that is fat that you will see on a grass-fed animal. So I think, as I said yesterday, we wind up being sort of connoisseurs of fine fat in this business and eating the way we do. And, you could get fat from a feedlotted animal that had eaten just corn and soy and whatever else they put in feedlot rations. I'm not exactly sure. I think they use a lot of nasty stuff in there. But the essence of the animal actually is in the fat, right? And that's what we're looking for. So the animal, this one being a bovine or a cow, she lives off grass. She can process that grass, ruminate that grass, and make fat out of it. So the essence of everything that she eats winds up in the fat. Okay, and let me show you a little bit more of this. Like the inside of the animal is really something to see. Not a lot of light here right now. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I can do something about that. I got a light here that I can plug in. Okay. So she has a lot of fat on the inside. Right? And none of that will go to waste. None of it. Every bit of that will come out and be used. So you can see this stuff comes out really easy. It just tears out. That's gorgeous stuff. The difference between pig fat and beef fat. Pig fat is called lard. Here's a pig hanging here. You can see the fat that's hanging inside that pig. There's lots of it. That's the leaf fat. And this would be comparable to it. It's internal fat. And here's a bunch more that I collected as we were taking her down, or gutting her out. And here's a whole bunch more. Really good stuff. I'll get this all separated out before we're done. Here's the kidneys. Those are very useful. This is the spleen. Also quite useful. The heart. Look at the size of this heart on this animal. We didn't weigh her. I mean, we probably should have, but she's just going to be for us. And so we didn't weigh her, but I would say she's probably 1,800 or so. And then tongue. This is what's called a hanger steak right here. It's sort of the diaphragm. These are the lungs. And this is the lady parts. And my wife wanted those for something, so I laid them aside. I don't think we're going to eat them. I think she's going to freeze dry them and make something out of them. And then the liver. All right? So there's not any waste, really. I would say we don't do anything with the hoofs. They go in the compost pile. The hide is right here. Frank wanted to take a section of it out and try his hand at tanning it. So I'll leave it there until he gets back tomorrow. And we're cleaned up. I am going to take a little bit off of this tonight. I'm going to take one of the tenderloins out of it and put it up in the house. And that's what we will have for dinner. Really, we haven't had beef in a while. We've been out for a while. So we're pretty anxious to get back at the beef. All right, this is just one of about 5 that we're going to do this year. This one, as I said before, is one of the milk cows. And it's going to be some good beef. Real good beef. Probably leave it here for a day or two until it's really nice and firmed up. And then I'll run a saw right down the middle of it. I just use a Sawzall with a pruning blade in it. Believe it or not, it works better than the saws that they make for this. It works so much better that that's all we're going to ever use from now on. I can just go right down through that in about 4 minutes, and it's quite dense. And then we'll lop it each side into 3 pieces, drop it down on a cart, and take them in the shop. And go to work boning it out and running it through the grinder. It's going to be a lot of hamburger on this. And then we'll take some roasts out and do some jerky meat. The saddle, like I said before, the saddle is right about where you would put a saddle on an animal like that. This is where the really nice steaks come from, right in here. So that piece, when we take that apart, we'll put that in the cooler and leave it there for about 2-3 weeks until we want to get ready to cool it way off and then run it through the bandsaw, and that'll be our steaks. All right, I think that's kind of interesting. That was quite the project this morning. It doesn't take too long. I do like to talk about the process of doing this. The way we used to have to do this was, as I said before, we'd have to go out there into the field and shoot her and then get her back here, which is, it's a job, even though we have a pretty good sized tractor, because this time of the year there's always snow and ice, so it's kind of tough. But in this case, we walked her out here right under the overhead, bang, she was down, bled her out, and we were up and skinning in less than 5 minutes. It was really, really quick. We did it all half hour before lunch and about 3/4 of an hour after lunch with cleanup and everything. So it's to this point. The work begins when you get to this point, but it is nice that we have our own facilities here, so we can work on, say, like the front shoulders. We can work on those, and then when they're done, get that all ground up, packaged, and stored. And then we can, and so on. We can work it like that. It doesn't have to be a, sun up to sundown thing. It can be worked progressively. Most of the things I'd say everything that we do here on this farm is seasonal. So you wouldn't see me processing a beef in the summertime because that would be covered with flies right now. And there's just no way to proceed like that. I mean, you can put fans on it and keep a sprinkler on it or something like that. You can, like if you had a cow that broke a leg and you needed to do it. But other than that, we don't have HVAC, large cooling facilities. We don't have that, and I don't want that. Because if you have that and you make that kind of investment in it, then you're going to want to be operating it year round. And then the power company guy sends you a letter at the end of every month, and some of them letters are bad news, and I don't want that. All the cooling that's going to happen with this 1,800-pound animal is all free. I don't pay for any of that, which is really nice. So from December through February, we have perfect weather for not doing anything else outside. We're not cutting hay, we're not raising chickens, we're not butchering, we're not doing anything else. It's just the day-to-day, but butchering beef is a good thing to do during those months. Once this comes in the shop, we can heat the shop enough so you're not really cold, but we don't have to heat it so much that the carcass gets slippery. All right, remember, anyone can farm.